Welcome back to Loud Lens, the photography podcast that says the quiet part out loud. I'm your host, Khandie Reese, and today we are going in because I have just had enough of photographers being dragged online for doing their damn job, delivering honest, skilled work, only to be attacked by clients who don't recognize their own faces without that blur filter, that digital Botox. That's a great way to term it. So let me tell you, this is like, that's not your face, babe. That's your ego in a filter, okay? And I'm coming at this absolutely from this morning. I happened to jump onto Facebook, do a bit of admin because that's what I tend to do in the morning. And I happened to go into one of these groups, and there is a woman who has and let me just go back and read this, okay? Can I find it? Probably not now because I didn't actually think I was going to read it. She basically said that she hates her engagement photos because she looks nothing like the pictures that the photographer has put up. Now, she put a side-by-side comparison of one that he's taken, it is a male photographer, not that that matters, and her photos. And I'm going to tell you now, everyone and their gran can see that, yes, she looks like that photographer, except her photo is a heavily, heavily, heavily retouched picture. I mean, smoothed off. She doesn't even have eyelids. Right? Everything is just smooth. She even has like 1.5 eyebrows. It smoothed everything off. So I was like, no, that's not okay. People are like, oh, they should know how to photo. I'm like, what? What? So I went into her profile because I just wanted to see. And there is, in her tagged pictures, picture of her looking beautiful, but not as Photoshopped. So I just had a quick look at your tag photos, particularly this one. It was a picture of her at a wedding and said, you look absolutely stunning. This is very much in keeping with what the photographer done. Your one seems to have some filters applied, which is great, but the photographer did actually photograph you. If you don't like it, you should have gone to a photographer that liked it. This woman said, no, I'm not filtered. Oh, and then everyone else started to notice. I didn't mean the pile on. I just have had enough, okay? I just fed up a photographer as being rinsed, being absolutely rinsed, okay? She looks near identical to what the, in inverted commas, bad photographer gave her, but she is absolutely adamant that that does not look like her, that he created an appalling picture of her, and I mean, honestly, she looks like a doll in her picture. She looks like one of those plastic dolls I see in a toy store. Now, that's great if you want to have that, honey, but filter culture has warped our reality. We have a problem, and I wish I could sound a Clacton, brr, brr, whatever. And it's not bad photography, it's delusion. We're in a time where the filter isn't an enhancement, it becomes people's default identity. They show you them as if it's a real image, and yet when you show them a genuinely real image, they think there's something wrong. In fact, they think it's offensive. This isn't a photography issue, though. This is like a rot in culture. We've glamorized airbrushing to the point where human skin, pores, texture, soft wrinkles, freckles is now low quality. What the F? And I want to be clear, I love a bit of glam editing. I do retouch, but that isn't about artistry. It's about identity crisis. Now, you may recall a little while ago, I did a whole video and on my YouTube about Norway's approach to Photoshop. How if an image is digitally retouched, like you've done something to the model's skin, her body, you have to actually you're legally required to put a massive thing on it saying that's been done. And it's made me really think about how I edit. Okay. I have this kind of general rule that if it's going to be gone in 2 weeks, I'll edit it out, like blemishes, like spots and things like that. But also, when I was working in Norway, I didn't retouch nobody's skin because Norwegians didn't, you can do it, but you have to advertise it. And I just felt like I'm going to go all in. And what it's done is it's really brought me back to my retouch. Now, I am working with a retouch brand called Retouch for Me. But so that's like an AI generated retouch, and it's not a bad word, AI. I'll get into that in another episode. So what it does, I set the parameters, okay? So I have it on a very low healing because I don't want everything to be gone, right? I don't want everybody's freckles to be gone. I think so. You can change the slides up and down and get what you like and save that as a preset for you. So when you go into editing, that's what you do. Okay. I have no problem ending with scars, the odd mark on the skin, nothing. But there has been this shift, and you can see it on social media, heavily, heavily retouched. And the thing is, people are buying it. It becomes so ludicrous that because people constantly put it up, we're just thinking that's okay. And then there's these great big things in celebrities where you see them. I think the Kardashians is probably a good one to use. Especially is it Kylie, the younger one, where she was at an award ceremony. She put a picture up, and then the actual photos from the paparazzi there were not vastly different, but they showed a very different look to her face. In fact, there was a term called pillow face, which I just think is really offensive. Leave her alone. And when someone's under that much scrutiny, they will do stuff to what they believe enhance themselves. And I'm not here to destroy that. but you could see the stark contrast with the filter she used to what she actually looked like. It becomes a norm, okay? So photographers, I want you to kind of listen to this, okay? You are not a magician. You're not here to reconstruct someone's face based on how they wish they looked in a Snapchat filter. You are a storyteller. I hate that term, but you are not a digital plastic surgeon. So when your client says that doesn't look like me, and you know you've done your job, you've nailed exposure, composition, posing, even subtle retouch, it's okay to push back. So let me tell you how you do this. We talk about this quite a lot. It's called setting expectations early. Talk about your editing style at the console or before the shoot. Show examples of your actual work, not just Instagram posts with a sparkly filter. Let them know I enhance, I don't transform. I actually had a woman who asked me to slim down her baby because she felt her baby was too chubby. And it was in a family portrait. I was like, I cannot, I would not do that. She was quite upset because she wanted it done. And I just said, no. And we have this in the console. I said, no, I don't ever do that. Especially on a baby. Like baby rolls are like what everyone loves. I was really shocked, I'll be honest. I tell people that I will make you look like you've had a great night's sleep, drank loads of water, and you've had a clear skin. Like, I'll obviously word it a bit better than that. But I'm not going to make you, if you're a size 18, a size 12. Okay. I compose you so it shows off your figure the best way. I mean, and that's in inverted commas as well, because I'm not here to body shame and all you happens to be a size 18. Fantastic. Whatever. But I am not here to make someone so slim it doesn't look like them. I have seen this done. Um, I actually, and I've got a personal story on this. I was at a photo show event, and it was, where was it? Somewhere in the Midlands. Oh, was it? It wasn't the big Birmingham one. It was like I don't know. And the guy asked to do my headshot as a demo. I said, yeah, no worries. So we took my headshot, and then I have a scar above my eyebrow, right? It's I don't want to say it's a battle scar because that's like or like a it's got a significant meaning, but I kind of have accepted it to be there, and it's an identifying feature of mine, right? He photoshopped it out, and I said, "Oh, you got rid of it?" Because yeah, it was kind of ugly, and I just was like, "Whoa, that's my face. My face isn't stunning. My face isn't like hot shit, but like that's no, no." And it was just all the little thing. I did not. My headshot did not look like me. Like I want my headshot to look great. I want my headshot to kind of be like, oh, she's had a good night's sleep. Maybe like get rid of some fine lines. Because girl, I got some. I got some. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Okay, I can pretend I am on the internet, but I'm really not. But I'm still running half marathons. Maybe I am a spring. I don't know. But I did not appreciate it, so I've never used that headshot, and I know when he reached out and said, "Hey, you didn't use your headshot." I was like, "Oh, it's great, it's just not my style." I was worried. In the end, he said, "What do you mean?" And I told him, like, "You edited out my scar, you made my eyes slightly bigger, and you even straightened my nose." Now my nose has a slight bend on one side because I played a lot of rugby and boxing, and I had other things, and it got broke a lot, and it's been re-straightened, and I kind of like, it's how I look. I did not recognize myself. It's like when you do those things, where you mirror your face across and those like apps. I don't look like myself. And I have another issue about this with it, and I've spoken about this story before. When I first moved to Northampton, I happened to be walking out of the shopping centre, and there was a missing child poster up. Okay, and I've said this story so many times on my podcast, and it was of a child gone missing. It's awful, right? So I went up to have a look because it's a child missing. I want to, if I spot them, I want to know. Except the picture was of the child in a Snapchat filter with with the yellow gold butterflies going around the head. Someone had screenshotted that and used that. There is no way you're going to identify anybody from that picture. There was not even a nasal bone visible. There was not flat face with golden butterfly. Like, how is that a missing poster? Anyway, let's get back on what you can do. Like, set expectations. By the way, the child was fine. I'm not laughing at the fact the child was there, but it was just the weirdness of using that. Um, the child was eventually found, so just want to. There's a happy ending to this. So the other thing is, obviously, you set expectations early with your clients. Offer options, right? So if a client wants full glam editing, consider it an upgrade. But if it's wildly outside your aesthetic, refer them to somebody who does that style. Hey, I focus on natural editorial work, but there's a fab photographer who specializes in heavy retouch, which is what you seem to be after. Send them that way. You might be going, oh, but I need the money. You do not need the hassle. There is no amount of money that is going to make that hassle okay, because it just doesn't happen, okay? I also think you should have it in your contract about setting retouch expectations. I have a little paragraph in my contracts about it, what is and what isn't included. If they want more, it's chargeable or it's outsourced at their expense. I feel like that kind of helps. I also talk about it in my marketing, right? I did that whole video about the Norway retouch in my YouTube. So if you haven't followed my YouTube, it is Khandie Photography on YouTube. Go check it out. I also think I've talked about this in here, but maybe I could talk about it with my. In fact, you know, I'm going to Norway soon. Maybe I'll record an episode with my friend talking about this because she's a makeup artist as well as a model. She works in photography. That would be a good episode. So I'll get back to you on that one, but you can go watch the YouTube video because I talk all about it. So there's also a bit about where we can talk about client psychology, and I don't want to shame them. Okay. We need to show a little bit of compassion here. People are deeply uncomfortable with their own faces right now. They spend too long only seeing the smooth version that they've forgotten what their real face looks like in motion, in daylight, in photography, honest photography. And so, while yes, some clients are outrageous and some are just scared, vulnerable, and conditioned to believe that anything less than fit with perfection is failure. You don't have to agree, but you do have to understand, and you can still understand and stand your ground. Remember, the entire world is so critical. If you put anyone's picture online, they already feel scrutinized, and there are people on the internet who will happily tell them all their flaws. I get it on. Do you know what? I did a video on YouTube, right? And it was all about business and how to what to do in, like, I think it's like, was it 2023 I did it in, or was it 2024? Anyway, what would I do to start a business in 2023? Something like that I did. And I did this video, right? Not a problem. And then this guy private messaged me and told me that my face was too ugly and that I needed to have a better look to be successful as a YouTuber. Now, that might be fine, but he didn't comment on any of the content. He commented on the way I looked. Imagine if we went around and devalued someone's experience, devalued someone's education, devalued someone's knowledge because they just weren't pretty enough. Ow. Oh, I'm just not pretty enough to do it. It's mad. It's mad. So your job is to capture who someone is, not who they pretend to be via a filter app. If that means losing a client who wants to be painted in this false perception of themselves, then let it be. You gain far more if you just say, it's not for me, okay? It's just really not for me. I've had clients who've asked me to shave off 3 dress sizes in Photoshop, just move every inch to make their nose smaller. And I've politely said, I won't change you because there's nothing wrong with you, but I I can recommend a photographer who perhaps would do this for you. And do you know what? I think I've lost one client that way in all the years. I don't advocate for this. I don't want to be that photographer that pushes this false ideal. You can do so much with good lighting. You can do so much with it, and you know, gentle retouch, natural retouch. Photography isn't about erasing flaws because I don't think people have those. It's about reframing them. That little smile line, that's proof you laugh. That mole, iconic, worked for Marilyn Monroe, you know, and anyone else. That wrinkle, you earned it by living a full life. And if someone doesn't see that and doesn't want to see that, that's not for me as a business to try and do that. But that's the healing they need to do. Okay. I don't know if this is resonating, but to that photographer who got the abuse and I came out to help you, I just want to say, if you ever have a client like this, don't automatically assume that they are like, they don't understand what they really look like, because this whole society is built on aesthetics. I swear, like, you get ahead if you're pretty, you know, this whole pretty privilege thing happens. It does. We can argue it, but it does happen. So to my fellow photographers, keep your standards high, but only to the standards you want to have, okay? To the clients listening, stop chasing the filter dream. You are enough, you are worthy, but more importantly, you're a real human being. And to the filter fiends dragging creators for not matching your snapseed, that's a mouthful. It's snapseed illusion. It's not your face, babe. It never was. That's not what you look like. Anyway, if you have loved this rant slash talk, hit follow, share it with your fellow photographer. You might have one of those clients. Leave a review and come and check me out on Instagram, Khandie Photo, to talk more. This has been The Loud Lens. And as always, be loud, be real, and be freaking brilliant. I need a coffee though. I'm still decaf, by the way. Can we just prop me for that? I'm still decaf.